And welcome to From Deep Episode 5. I am your host, Luke Jansen, and we are joined today by my co-host, Phil Wiseman. Phil, say hello.
Hello, beautiful people. Let's talk some basketball.
Let's do it. Today's show, we got From Deep, NBA Weekly, NBA 2K Sim. We're going to be drafting the top franchise point guards to play each other. Point guard versus point guard versus point guard versus point guard versus point guard. Just say that 10 times.
Best of the best.
Best of the best. We have a hot take, and of course, we got to have our Raptors news. And without further ado, Phil, let's jump into it.
Let's do it, Luke. We talking basketball? We got our basketballs up.
Basketball. We got but mine's Raptors based, so I think I win. I win the entry to the show. It's actually a game Phil and I are playing. Who's gonna have the best entry? And I mean, like Raptors love. Although you do have a DeRozan jersey.
I was gonna say, you're talking all this Raptors love. I got a nice little DeRozan jersey in the background for us joining us on YouTube today.
That's true. And Bonsai Bob has rejoined the again, and Steven 1 and 2. Very important show. So yeah, I would say they're the anchor to our show. At least that's my personal opinion.
They bring the energy, or do they bring the oxygen?
They bring the oxygen, which is very important because we need it.
Store that carbon.
Store the carbon. Yeah, this is very important. There's a lot of stuff going on in these shows. We need as much oxygen as we can to talk.
We've made the transition from basketball podcast to eco podcast. I mean, it was Earth Day this week. We had that, so we got to talk a little environment, right?
Plant basketball. It's the next thing.
There we go.
It's coming up. From Deep. You ready, Phil?
I am.
Okay, Phil. You are up first. Give me your silly question. For those that don't know, we're going to do 2 silly questions first, and we will have one kind of from deep, more serious, kind of way out of nowhere at the end of the show. But we got to start silly, have some fun. Bring the heat, Phil.
Okay. My question for you, I guess I got a little bit of a warm-up question for you.
Okay.
Are you a Marvel Comics fan? Do you like the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh, love it. Love Marvel. Love me some Marvel. Just finished up Falcon and Winter Soldier last night, actually. So it's good. Good stuff.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this will be right in your wheelhouse then. If we were to compare LeBron James to a Marvel character, who would he be and why?
LeBron James is a Marvel character.
Who would he be and why?
I mean, like the basic one that you can think of is like, actually, it's not basic. Who would LeBron James remind me of?
I can give you mine, but I want to hear yours first.
Yeah, of course. No. I'll go first.
Okay.
I am gonna go Hulk.
Hulk.
The reason we're going the Hulk is I'm going prime LeBron James. I'm assuming that was the question.
Any way you want to take it.
Okay. All right. Because prime LeBron James, I mean, you could arguably consider he's somehow still in his prime at 37. It was a monster. Like blocks. Chase down blocks, the rebounds. He just did everything, man. The guy was everywhere. You couldn't get by him. He'd dunk on you. Alley-oops from half court from D-Wade. Like, oh my goodness. He just reminded me so much of the Hulk. The only thing that he was missing was green.
Was being a little green.
I mean, he was crazy, man. When he got into his element, it was all over for no regard for human life. Just absolutely dunked on everybody. So yeah, I'm going the Hulk. Who you got?
I've got Thanos.
Okay.
Yeah. So ever relenting for the search of the stones. And then, of course, ever relenting in the search for championships.
Yeah.
Looking to take down a super team, the Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, he took down the Steph Warriors, 73-9. A little bit of comparison that way.
Mm-hmm.
You could say he was a little bit of a villain on the Heat as well when he initially joined there. So I'm going with Thanos for LeBron James as a Marvel character. Let us know what you think, people.
And he's got to have all the rings, though. How many rings?
Exactly.
He's still got to get one more, right?
He's got to get one more to get to that 5th and get all the Infinity Stones and take over the universe, be the number 1 player.
This was his goal all along. Don't let him get the 5th ring this year. Don't let it happen. Who knows what happens? Half of us could disappear.
Exactly. Don't do it, LeBron. Don't do it.
LeBron, have mercy. Gosh, we might see him evolve from prime LeBron at 37 to prime LeBron at 38 next year if he gets that.
You got it right. What's
awesome.
Your question for me here?
Okay, so I believe it was episode 3. We left some breadcrumbs out.
Ooh,
breadcrumbs. There was some breadcrumbs. Something talking about some glasses. Piqued the interest of everyone. It was trending on Twitter.
Yeah,
Glasses.
I think LeBron actually tweeted about it.
I
Maybe
think
even
so.
Kevin Durant did too. I can't remember.
So today,
No.
it's no breadcrumbs. You're getting the whole loaf of bread. Today is the day.
We're in the cottage. Hansel and Gretel. We found them.
So we're gonna direct this as a question, but there's some great story to this. So we have to set the scene.
Let's see your storytelling skills here.
So let's pull us back. Okay, so you're in grade 8. You're lacing.
I'm lanky. I'm like what? I'm 6 foot. I think I'm the same height as I am now in grade 8, and 112 pounds. Same lanky, long arms. So for those that don't know me, I'm 6'2", about 175 now. So 112 pounds, 6'2" in grade 8. Big, long, greasy hair.
Oh,
plenty of acne.
We were all there though. Although my hair wasn't as long
8.
as yours. I don't think my hair ever hit my shoulders, but definitely went for a Beatles look. It was definitely going for a long hair Beatles look. Okay, so we're setting the scene for those that don't know. Okay, so Boundary Bulldogs. You're in the gym. It's hype. It's Miss Fortier, right? Was our coach?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Fortier.
So we got the group huddle going. We're just getting ready. We're lacing up the shoes. You know, we're basically the best team ever, right? Like, I mean, like, it's not, you can't even argue it. The Boundary Bulldogs were, especially for our division, top notch. We were probably dead last. But
who was our division, Luke?
Doesn't matter. We were the best. Okay. We get to write history this way. Nobody knows.
All right.
Coming out. We're running out. Luke's like, of course, I play with Phil. For those that don't know, Boundary Bulldog for life. Average like 26 and 7 a game. We run out. Okay, so crowd's going wild. I'm pretty sure the 3 or 4 parents that were there were, yeah, let's go. And then boom, we have the opponents come out. Benson Bears. I mean, if you ever had the Bees were there. Benson Bears and Boundary Bulldogs. The Bees. It's the Bees game. Now,
Beats Bears Battlestar Galactica, Luke.
Say that 10 times fast. So the scene is set. Benson Bears, Boundary Bulldogs. This is a head-to-head. It's a big game. Now you, Phil, this is where the question comes in place. So you new to the sport of basketball, as far as I'm aware. Soccer was kind of your thing at this point in time. Making the transition to what is a beautiful sport. Much better than soccer, in my opinion. I like
There's
soccer.
Your hot take for the
There's
week.
your hot take. As a defensive option, someone is dribbling the ball towards you. This man also was in the Benson Bear locker room, prepping up for the game, getting ready. Just lacing up his shoes.
I don't think we can call them men when they're 13, 14. But sure, keep going.
We were men, Phil. We were men.
It was something else.
Straps the glasses on. His parents made sure that he had the wraparound to make sure that these glasses weren't going anywhere. This was his vision to shoot 7 from the 3-point line. Like, without these glasses, this man had no shot. You now are coming in. You got to prove yourself. This is your first season in basketball, coming to set the pace for the rest of your career in the NBA.
The NBA. Okay.
You're going to get there. This man crosses you up. You take a step back. You have 2 defensive options. You A, swipe for the ball with your right hand, or B, dive your head, just headbutt the kid and break his glasses and put him to the floor. What is your pick?
What is my pick? So I am my 14-year-old self in this situation, or
yes,
I am now?
This is yeah, sure. You know what? Let's list 14-year-old self. What was your desire for that play to happen? Was it to swipe for the steal, or do you think that you go for the headbutt, break the kid's glasses? What's your choice?
Well, I can tell you now at 29 years old, I drop probably a glass of water, maybe 2 to 3 times a year, and break a glass. My wife loves me for this. She's a super fan whenever I break something in the house. With that coordination now, 15 years later, I would say at 14 years old, my desire was to swipe the ball, but my momentum and body had other decisions to be made. just like now at 29. I don't want to drop a glass of water ever. But I will carry that momentum and hit the man in between his eyes, headbutt him, and break his glasses at 14 years old. So if I'm doing this at 29, coordinated as I am, in all well shaped manner and form, I think at 14, my desire was to steal the ball, swipe it, go down the court, do a reverse jam. But just like everybody else,
Just didn't
I'm
play
human.
out. It didn't
I'm
play out that
reality.
way.
Did not play out that way. Smack.
So that is your glasses story and what created a big bond for Phil and I's friendship. We've been friends for, geez, well, how old were we then? We were, 13.
13, 14, yeah.
Yeah, now we're 29. We didn't become really good friends till high school, but I do remember we got you into basketball. I'm pretty sure I was the one that's kind of like pushing you to play a little bit more. Maybe Josh was probably, I know you and Josh were good friends at the time, but I think I was like, you gotta play, man, you gotta play. And this wasn't that far into the season. I think it might even been our first game.
I think it was our first game.
It was our first game.
It was our first tournament, our first game that we played outside of Boundary. Practice was going. I was very new to the sport. I was trying to pick up the ball and dribble, and that didn't work out. Trying to defend, that doesn't work out.
Hey, the defense worked. It stopped the play. He didn't score.
I think
and
I think the boy was also very strong too, because I don't think he cried either, right? Like I don't think either of us cried.
I think he was more like what?
Shocked.
Shocked. Yeah, just kidding.
I have PTSD probably to this day. We'll have to find out.
this kid just headbutt me playing basketball. So I just remember it so clearly. And for those that you can't see, like Phil just straight up, and like I'm not talking like accidentally caught him with a headbutt. Like Phil straight up headbutted this kid. He like went full in, and all of us were like, "What? What did you? What?"
Basketball and injuries are something else. I got another one that we can do for a story another time. I've got a beautiful scar here. We'll leave those breadcrumbs for another time.
We'll
in a story there
for another time. So those are our from deep questions. There's your thing for the glasses, Phil. We love you. Technically, I'll say you had the best defensive play I've ever seen in my life. It stopped the play, took the glasses off from the man. He couldn't see, so he couldn't shoot anymore. So
did he score another point for the rest of the game? We will never know. Did we end up winning the game?
Phil, we
absolutely
history. We won by 100. He scored no more points.
Absolutely. There we go.
We create history of those games. Let's jump into not from deep. Let's jump into NBA Weekly. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's get a big old slam dunk. NBA Weekly. We got some great stuff coming up. Steph, 3 weeks in a row we talking about Steph, but if you don't know, Steph's been out of this world the last 3 weeks, breaking records, shattering records, playing like an not even human with the percentages he's scoring right now. It's crazy. The record he broke this week, though, Steph, first player to have 70 plus three-pointers in 10 games. I believe it ended up being 72 or 73. Now, yeah, Steph is just, I mean, you kind of think that you've seen the pinnacle of Steph, which again, similar to like how I talked about with Luka. Luka's got lots of room to grow, but like, you kind of don't expect these players to bring more because they're just already so good. Like Steph Curry is just so good. I don't expect him to be averaging almost 40 points a game. I didn't really think that was where he's at, but he is, and he's shooting unbelievable. Everybody, like teams design defenses to stop him. They know what he's going to do, and he still just can't stop him. It's just unbelievable. And I found this amazing thing on Reddit, though, and it was from a user, Ketmar. But Phil, if you want to add in anything on there before I go to that, feel free to do.
I would say if you're watching basketball, make sure to tune into a Golden State Warriors game right now. The streak this man is on is just incredible. Just absolutely incredible.
Incredible. That's a great word for it. So this post, though, this is where it gets a little bit of fun. So if you're not a Reddit user, they have some great posts that you'll find weekly. Some of them are just out of the moon. Like you're just like, why did you research this? And to me, though, I love it. So Reddit user Ketmar said, if Steph Curry went 0 of 500 on three-pointers and then retired, he'd still have a higher three-point percentage than Ray Allen. Ray Allen, 2,973. points made, 7,429 taken for a 40% clip. Steph Curry right now is, I believe, shooting 2,755 clips made, or 3-pointers made, with 6,342 misses or attempts. My apologies. And if you tack on those extra 500 misses, he'd have 40%, 0.26.
So he's still beating him.
Still beating him.
Incredible.
Now, where I love Reddit is the comment said, "Go deeper." By that, it just means like I want more information. So then he said, a user said he could miss his next 1,000 and still be higher than Dame Lillard and James Harden. Next comment.
Wow.
Go deeper. He could miss his next 12,399 shots and still have a higher 3-point percentage than Ben Simmons at 14.9%. And you'd think it would end there. You'd think, you're like, okay, we've chirped Ben Simmons enough. Let's end there. But the comment below says, "Go deeper." And I'm not sure who this user was. I forgot to write his name down. And my apologies, because you deserve all the Reddit gold in the world. And he comes in the comment with, Shaquille O'Neal has 22 career 3-point attempts with one make for a truly abysmal 4.5% 3-point percentage on his career. Curry would have to miss 58,467 consecutive threes to sink his average to that level.
Oh my gosh.
Curry's career high in 3-point attempts is 866 in 2015, meaning that he would have to put up a volume without ever making one for 66 seasons to get that low, making Curry 98 years old when he retires. So, hot take: does Curry sink to Shaq's?
To get to that level?
I mean, at that point, if he did that, I mean, truly would be MVP in my heart. Obviously, he'd have to shoot every shot. So you 0-win seasons, 0 points made, and do it for 66 seasons. Wonderful. Thank you, Ketmar, for bringing us to that lovely piece of Reddit information. Another thing we kind of had with the Steph Curry, we had a tweet come out this week. Someone chirping Steph. Of course, you're gonna have haters gonna hate. And it says, Kevin Durant was better than Steph Curry both those years. And he's referring to when Kevin Durant played with Golden State Warriors. Everybody knows it, bro. Don't try and kid yourself. This Curry needed another MVP and 3 All-Stars to get the job done. Who liked the comment? Kevin Durant.
Ooh.
Kevin, you got to learn how to switch to your burners, man. You got to learn how to switch to your burners. This happens too much, man. But what's your thoughts on that tweet, Phil?
Kevin Durant loves his Twitter. I think there was one note that we cut from last week's show, which was that Kevin Durant has more tweets than he does NBA points.
That he does. 24,000 something tweets and then 23,000 points. Somewhere in that ballpark.
So Katie loves his Twitter, loves his tweets. What do I have to say about Kevin Durant joining the Warriors to get those championships? This guy isn't wrong, and Kevin just wants to stay relevant. He's liking some tweets. He wants to stay relevant with what's going on in the basketball world. Maybe kind of give a little bit of a talk about him and what his Brooklyn Nets are doing versus Steph Curry and how he's performing right now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't think Kevin Durant is better than Steph Curry. Personally.
Ooh. There's another spicy take.
I don't like ring chasers. Never have. I understand it's going to happen, and I'm not going to judge you for doing that. But I like guys who stick with their organizations. I think it's cool. I enjoy it as a fan of basketball. The way Curry's playing right now is unbelievable. Kevin Durant is unbelievable. I just personally think that Curry got himself there with the team he had. And you could argue that, like, who was Klay Thompson and Draymond Green? Like, they weren't anybody before those three really started to collide and become something together. They were good players, but I'm not saying like you were like, oh, Draymond Green got traded to Golden State. That's it. This is a three-peat. Like, I just mean like they as a team became amazing and did some awesome things as a group, where Kevin, you could say, arguably has now joined in to some groups that already had some really awesome stuff going on, rather than sticking it out with OKC.
He joined the 73-9 Warriors. That will forever be on his resume. And he joined that team to chase championships. And that will be forever part of who he is. You're 100% right about that.
Coming down to stats and points, I imagine I'd wait till the end of their careers, because I think they're both at the point where they're both amazing and both at like a crazy pinnacle. I really don't think we'd be able to, they're very different players, but I don't think you could really arguably compare who's the best player until they both call it quits.
Yeah, plus different positions, all that kind of stuff. Definitely the best pure scorers probably to ever play this game. You could argue Steph and KD. KD is 7 foot, has probably the silkiest jumper that I've ever seen, and hits without any doubt. He can hit any kind of shot in the game. What was happening in those Warriors championships as well is Kevin Durant won those finals MVPs, right? He won those finals MVPs. He was hitting those dagger shots. It's definitely a debate that we can have later on in the show, I think. Who will you want to be, or who do you think has a better career out of the two of them?
All I'll say is one guy's breaking history record books right now and the other isn't.
Yeah. Also, Kevin Durant has torn his Achilles, which is seen as a career-ending injury, and then has been very nicked up and hurt this year. Steph obviously having his own ankle trouble in his past, and look at where he is now. You're right. He's going to be the all-time leading three-point shooter whenever it's all said and done. And hey, maybe he even becomes MVP this year, right? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, and that kind of brings us right into our next transition, because we're going to talk MVP, where we got 13 regular season games roughly. Some might have 14, some might have 12, but roughly about 13 games left in the season. So obviously that MVP debate is starting to heat up. And Steph Curry, who truly was not a part of this MVP talk for the whole season, basically just threw himself into the marker there because the man is crazy. Over the last, been a month and a half, or month. This last month especially has just been out of this world, almost averaging 40 points a game. Like, unbelievable. I mean, Michael Jordan did that in the playoffs. Curry's doing it in a regular season. I can't wait till we see Steph Curry playoff form. Crazy.
Yeah, the last 12, 13 games, he's been over 32 every single time but once. And that was when they lost to Washington this week, who have also been on a tear. So, yeah, he's on an unbelievable stretch, and he's right to have his name in the conversation. Can he win it? That's a whole other conversation, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's talk it. So we're going to take the rankings of the top 5 right now that are through. This is Zach Harper's NBA awards. I believe that's who we were taking the link from, right?
Yeah, from The Athletic. That's right.
We're going to talk criteria of MVP. So again, this is from Zach Harper's thing, and just kind of what I agree with, and so you can hear what we're talking about while we talk about the MVP. So first, crazy stats. That's an important part of the MVP debate. We judge a lot of awards based on how incredible people play. Just like Curry, he's had now a really good season, but now has had 1 month that just is blowing the history books. Like, he's taking over records. He's just winning games without technically his second best scorer. Draymond's great, but Clay is definitely the second highest volume output scorer for that team. So crazy stats.
Clay's the splash brother for a reason, right?
Clay's the splash brother. Draymond is that glue, but he's definitely not a splash brother. Another one would be their player impact. How does this team fare without their player involved? Which, if you've seen the ratings for when Steph, and again, I don't have them off the top of my head, but I remember looking at them 2 weeks ago. When Steph is off the court, their team sucks.
To look at the plus minus, you can definitely see the impact that he's playing. If you look at the starting lineup, that'll just tell you right off the bat. If you don't see Steph Curry in the lineup, you're going to lose to 58 points to the Raptors, or you're going to lose to a lot of the Raptors. That's what's going to happen.
Exactly. So, I mean, he's got a huge player impact, but again, we got team success. That's always very important. There's very rarely through history has an MVP with an under 50 win season won it. I think there was 1 or 2, but primarily you need to have a winning percentage. Perceived value. Obviously, like, how does people, like, is their story crazy this year? What was something that was
what's their narrative?
Yeah, what's their narrative? And then lastly is clutch performance. Did you bring it in the closing moments of hard games? Although, actually, Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's not in the MVP conversation, but is actually leading the season this year in clutch shots in the last 5 minutes. So I thought that's
I
pretty cool.
saw that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people saying he's washed up, but that boy's he ain't. So in saying all that stuff, we now have our top five of Zach Harper's, and I kind of agree with him right now. We'll start with Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Previously not ranked. They got a 42-17 team for the Phoenix Suns, second seed in the West. I have up here on our show notes, Phil, you can see he's not really having a career high in anything.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond stats with Chris Paul's impact on the team. I think what we spoke about last week with how his impact on how the team comes together in relation to like the OKC team last year, Phoenix being in part of the bubble last year and then not getting into the playoffs and now being 42-17 is just an incredible accomplishment. So It's understandable why he's there and why he's got his name listed. And I couldn't agree more. I think he's had an amazing season.
He does. He has. I don't think he gets it, to be honest. I don't think
so either.
I don't think he's in there, but it's kind of nice to see that he's getting recognition for how he's doing this year. Number 4, Julius Randle, New York Knicks. Previously not ranked. The Knicks are 34-27th in the 4 seed, I believe, on a 7-game win streak right now.
Beat the Raptors today.
Beat the Raptors today. They're tearing it up. D Rose is bringing the heat, which I love to see, averaging like 14 points a game, which, considering the amount of injuries that man has gone through, the fact that he's even in the NBA, let alone a starting position in the NBA for a playoff contender, is insane. That man is just next level to get through injuries.
We're talking Julius Randle. Yeah, Julius Randle, what a season he's had. You can really see the effort that he's put in behind his numbers. 6.1 assists, 10.5 boards, 23.9 for points. I was listening to a podcast and watched some of the Knicks game, and they were talking about a story with Julius Randle and how whenever he traveled with Kobe, and when he used to play with Kobe on the Lakers, whenever they traveled and went to another city, they would always find somewhere where they could get up shots, somewhere they could go practice before the game, right off the flight. Julius has adapted this and brought this forward for that Knicks team and really helped to kind of solidify and bring that team together. So I think once again, it goes beyond the numbers, the impact he's having on this team.
It's unbelievable. I mean, if you told me the Knicks were going to be in the playoffs, let alone a 4th seed, I would have kind of laughed at you.
At the start of the season, no one would have predicted this. You're 100% right.
So it just goes to show you how well Julius and the rest of the Knicks have been playing. Number 3, Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors. Talk about him a lot. They're 30-30, 9th seed in the West. More than likely going to make the or the play-in tournament. My apologies, or squeeze in an 8th seed potentially. We kind of already discussed this. I think he doesn't have that really unless if he continues his output of what he's doing right now for the next 13 games, I think there's some serious discussion of okay, maybe he's an MVP, to be putting up over 32 points a game for a month straight where the teams are trying to stop you. You're their only main scoring output and they can't do it. I think does put him in contention to maybe win an MVP. But we're talking we'll need to see a couple 50-point games, maybe a 60-point game, some really just nuts games here for the last 13.
And wins. Wins would be the most important thing. They go on
a 13-game win streak or 10-game win streak or something like that, and only lose a couple games, get into a 7th or 6th seed, and he's playing unbelievable. Arguably, he could be definitely in that discussion, but right now I don't think he is. I really think there's only one front runner, but we're going to talk about Joel Embiid right now because he's in at number 2, and he's playing unbelievable. 39-21, 2nd seed for Philadelphia in the East. The guy is crazy. Came off his injury, and it's really sad to see him have his injury because I really think that's what's going to hold him back from getting the MVP.
I agree.
Because he's played 41 games, just so everybody knows. Nikola, he's going to be our number 1. I mean, I think everybody would have known that. Nikola's played 59 games, so there's a pretty big game dispersion there. But while Joel Embiid has been on the floor, 30 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 51% from the field, 37% from 3, 85
That's
from the
huge.
free throw.
His mid-range game has been unbelievable this year as well. He's had an
I,
unbelievable year for mid-range.
unbelievable. I really think I, I don't think he's going to be in the contention though. I think
I agree.
Nicholas got it.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, what's your thoughts? Like, we'll jump into Nikola right now. He's number one, Nikola for the Denver Nuggets. I forgot to write what their seeding is right now. The Nuggets obviously
They're
playing
fourth in the West right now.
fourth in West now, down Jamal Murray, which definitely hurts their playoffs run. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about MVP for the season. He's averaging 26.3 points, 10.9 rebounds, 8.7 assists, 56.6 from the field, which is insane. He's shooting a 40.5% clip from the three as a center, 85.7 free throws. He's untouchable.
His stat line is amazing. His play has been incredible. But I just want to bring it back to Joel Embiid for a second.
Sure. Yeah.
I think just when we're talking about Joel, we're also thinking about the impact on how he had in his rookie year. He also didn't have enough games to win Rookie of the Year, but a lot of people could arguably say he was Rookie of the Year. But when you look at the season that Nikola Jokic has had this year, it's been incredible with all the stats and everything he's kind of done for the Nuggets. Joel Embiid has more of a team success, if you want to argue that standpoint, with Philly being one game back of the first seed in the East. But Nikola Jokic, the numbers he's putting up, the efficiency, the Nuggets are basically locked into the fourth seed right now. So they'll be in the top four. There are 17 games over 500. I think you can argue that team success enough for Jokic, and just how he's been such a rock, such a key for the offense for the Nuggets is why I think he's the MVP.
Yeah. I think if Joel doesn't go down to an injury, I think that is a very tough decision. Because they're basically outputting the same numbers and both dominating. But I do think because of the injury that Nikola is going to win it. Yeah. So MVP, both Phil and I believe Nikola, right? We're both on the same page.
Yep.
That rarely happens.
Yeah, Jokic.
That rarely happens that you and me are on the same page. Look at us. But I mean, at this point,
Look at us.
I mean, there's no other option. I mean, Nikola's just had a great year. Phil, are you ready for the best draft in the world?
Let's do it.
NBA 2K21.
Count it! He's on fire! From downtown!
From downtown. So we have the NBA franchise point guard draft today, and it is going to be real. If you did not watch last week's game, we had Zion Williamson and Luka as the team captains, and we went up against the top 25 or top 20 under age 25 in the NBA, and we simmed out a game. We announced it. It was hilarious, ton of laughs, but also really fun. Watch that. It should be through our YouTube channel, though. It's not done through as a podcast, as it's pretty much visual, so very hard to listen to it as a podcast. But yeah, this is going to be a weekly thing, or a segment that we try to do more often, because we loved it. We had a ton of fun doing it, and I think a lot of people enjoyed listening to it. So we are going to be drafting from each. So I went through NBA 2K, 2K21, and took the best point guard from each team and put them in our list. Phil and I are going to draft. How many did we want to draft, Phil?
We're going to do 10 overall, but only do 7, I believe, during the podcast. Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
Or do you want to?
Yeah, I like that. That works great. So we're going to draft 7. And now, reminder, there is no centers. This is point guard versus 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 point guard. Got them all 10.
All 5 positions, point guards. That is the key, people.
It's going to be a very interesting simulation. I'm very excited for it. Phil, are you ready? Are you hyped up?
Oh, I'm ready to go. I think since I won the simulation, the last one, I should get the first overall pick. Is that fair? Do winners win?
Yeah, of course. Now, I did want to talk quickly to make and see what your thoughts on this are.
Yeah.
So the average point guard height, obviously, is about 6 foot to 6'5", 6'5" being on the higher side. Do we want to keep in Magic Johnson and Penny Hardaway just due to the fact that they're 6'9" at Magic Johnson, 6'7" for Penny Hardaway? Because I do you think that will create some like one guy's just going to center around the rebounds? Because I was kind of interested to see, like, we have people more around like that 6'5" height, and everyone's around the same height, that it creates a little bit more of a battle. I know you have first pick, so I will let you decide. I think for like seeing the game, I think we should cut them, but you have first pick. I'll let you decide what you're thinking.
Let's cut him. I agree. Magic Johnson, as basketball savants as we are, when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar went down in injury, Magic Johnson started in the center position or power forward position to take over from Kareem, and it ended up winning that game as a very tall man as he is, a 6'9", playing center when he's typically a point guard. I think a matchup like that is just going to be unfavorable and kind of skew things a little bit. So let's take out Magic and let's take out Penny, and maybe we can put in today's players, or did you want to go back and see?
I'd say that still brings us down to 28 players. So let's
just annex them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry, Lakers fans.
Yeah,
sorry, Orlando fans.
Magic's cut. He's garbage. I don't want him. I wouldn't have drafted him first.
He would have undoubtedly been my first overall pick. But yeah, I think I agree.
I agree. That's what I was thinking. So, but yeah, I'm interested for this. We're not going to go over the whole list because you don't want to hear me say 28 names, but you're going to know the names as we talk about them. Phil, first pick of the NBA franchise point guard draft. Who you got?
We've been chatting about him all night. Stephen Curry, #1 pick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let me just switch that into our notes. I mean, I'm not surprised by that pick. He's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just so everybody knows it's prime players for their franchise. So like Derrick Rose for the Bulls, it's not New York Knicks Derrick Rose. Who's still great, but he's definitely
MVP
not.
Derrick Rose on the Bulls. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that where you're going with #2?
So I'm trying to decide. I got two in the top of my head. I got to make this pick quickly, though. I think, man, Steph Curry is just a monster. He's going to eat me up. We are going to go with the second overall pick. Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose MVP. 6'2". Let's get him in there.
Okay. Derrick Rose, #2 overall pick. I like
He's a
that.
monster.
He's going to slash. He's going to really take the inside.
I'm hoping he has some athleticism to stay on Steph. I'm hoping. It's a tough thing, but I'm hoping he does something.
To match that up, I'm going to go Russell Westbrook, Vintage Thunders player. He has the athleticism to play with Rose, MVP year of a triple-double. Him plus a Steph Curry backcourt. Well, I guess it's all going to be a backcourt. So, yeah.
And in the backcourt, 5 players. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of hoping to get some speed and energy by going both of them. I don't know. You saw obviously who is in there for the Rockets, because primarily he was in there for 2K. He is a shooting guard, you could say, but I would say he primarily plays point.
The amount of assists that he had,
amount of assists and ISO. They actually 2K put him at the point guard slot.
Oh, there you go.
That's why he's there. So we are going to take James Harden from the Houston Rockets for the second or fourth overall pick.
That is a nice little team you're building. I think the point of this draft is we're just going to show all the fantastic point guards that really exist in this league. I'm going to go retro. I'm going to go Oscar Robertson from the Milwaukee Bucks. I want some rebounds. Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robertson. They can grab some boards. You might be seeing my strategy coming out to fruition here.
Yes. So we are going to replace some boards as well. And we're going to go with a player that I had no idea who he was until I really researched him. I wouldn't say he's arguably my point scorer, but he is a rebound getter. We're going to go with the Denver Nuggets. Fat Lever.
Fantastic name. Fantastic player.
9.3 rebounds a game in his career. We need a center, and I think at 6'3", he's a little small, but he's got, I'm sure, a ton of badges on 2K for rebounding. At least I hope, or I'm going to be in trouble.
Someone who's got a lot of badges I'm praying for is Mr. Allen Iverson. I would like some Allen Iverson on my team. That is going to be my next pick.
Yep, that's a great pick. So where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Got 7 picks. You're on to the 8th pick.
8.
So four players on each.
I think this is an interesting team. You've kind of drafted my team. I knew it was going to happen because you had first pick.
The excuses have already started, ladies and gentlemen.
Straight up, no excuses at all.
No.
It's just kind of the way the drafts are going. it's kind of like, yeah, like I figured you would take these players, which is fine.
Mhm,
That's all
mhm.
good. There's a ton of good talent out here. So we are going to go, I'm going to grab him because he's super high rated and I need a floor general. Steve Nash, Phoenix Suns.
That was my next one. A great pick. He rounds out our top 8. I'm also going to take a floor general. I'm going to take Chris Paul from the Clippers.
Yep.
At the number 9 pick to round out my 5. My starting 5 is Stephen Curry, Russell Westbrook, Oscar Robinson, Allen Iverson, and now Chris Paul. Who's your 5th pick and rounding out the starters for you?
We are going to get another bucket getter, and he's a little bit taller. We're going to go with Washington Wizards, Gilbert Arenas. Again, similar to the James Harden approach. Although Wizards, Gilbert Arenas did not play point, he primarily was ball carrier for them a lot of the times. So we made some exceptions. Because really, if you don't go with Gilbert Arenas for point, there's really not much on the Wizards. I mean, you could argue Russell Westbrook right now, but
Shots fired.
John Wall is good. But like in comparison to Gilbert Arenas, I mean, I don't think he's there.
Nope, completely fair. I'm going with an NBA champion, Kyrie Irving, for my number 6.
We're
Off of the
rounding up.
Cavaliers, vintage Kyrie, hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history. Kyrie Irving.
We are going to bring in some defense because we need it. New Jersey Nets, not Brooklyn Nets. A New Jersey Nets, Jason Kidd.
Okay.
Gritty defense, good floor general. Gonna bring the heat.
Fantastic. For my last one for the podcast, I'm going to pick Isaiah Thomas, the vintage Pistons point guard champion, Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas, Pistons, love him. Favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
Last pick for me. So, what do I want here? I love Kyle Lowry, but they didn't give him a high rating, so I'm not going to take him.
Scouting. Look at this, man.
Scouting. You got to scout. Of course you got to scout. We are probably going to go for the final pick of the NBA franchise point guard draft.
Podcast edition. 3 picks to come later.
We are going to go Tony Parker, San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. The 14th pick in the draft. This will be a fun simulation we're going to do here, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for whenever we do end up posting this podcast as a bonus edition. Perhaps we'll get our lovely friend Chris McDougall to do some guest commentating as well. Mr. Christopher, as we like to call him. He will be hopefully joining us for this edition of NBA 2K21 NBA franchise point guards.
Awesome.
Let us know what you think. Who's going to win this game? Comment in the sections below. S'il vous plaît.
Now, Phil, it's time to get hot. Time to get hot. Hot take time. Flame is up. The fire is out. Shaq's face is up. Although, I'm just going to leave Shaq up there. Every hot take has got to be spicy.
No, let me look into Shaq's eyes while we do this take.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't want to see like a jalapeno up there. I want to see Shaq's face. I love you, Shaq. So this one's probably not the hottest take in the world, but it's still pretty spicy.
But we love Shaq, so Shaq's up there. Spicy 5.
It's spicy 5. The hot take for the week: are the Washington Wizards the team to win it all? No, that's too hot. Too hot. Put it down, Luke. Put it down, please. Are the Washington Wizards, the team to win the play-in tournament on the East?
I was about to choke on some chicken wings if you were going to say they were going to win the NBA championship.
Kevin Durant injury, Kyrie Irving injury, James Harden injury. All right, boys, it's our time to shine.
Exactly. Well, I think they will get into the playoffs if that's how we are deeming that they are winning the play-in tournament.
So you got the standings up here. I remember that you can.
Yep, we do. We got the Wizards in at 10. They would play the Pacers in the first game. They're on a 7-game win streak right now. We've got the Heat in 7, the Hornets in 8. So Heat and Hornets play in 1 game. Pacers, Wizards play in 1. Heat, I think, would beat the Hornets to get in. And then that means the Wizards have to beat the Pacers and the Hornets. I think that's very doable with the stretch they're on. If I'm at Scout, there's not one game that I would be more afraid of to play LaMelo Ball versus Russell Westbrook. I'm going to pick Russell Westbrook out of those options.
Was that
so I
LaMelo
think
Mall
he
or
does it.
LaMelo Ball? I think I like LaMelo Mall better.
LaMelo Mall? I think LaMelo Mall.
Listen, knowing that family, they could open up a mall. I could see it happening.
The ball mall.
The ball.
all you do is you go shopping for tennis balls.
We're trademarking that. You cannot take that, the Ball family.
Tennis balls, basketballs. Oh, I want to go to the basketball store, Dad. Can I go? I'd like to get some basketballs.
Yes, the Hornets, because Ball's coming back, right? This week?
Yeah, and also Gordon Hayward's down with an injury right now. I think they got a chance to beat the LaMelo Mall Ball. So let's take the Washington Wizards to make that playing tournament. I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Russell Westbrook has recently been lights out. You never put that man out. He could have like a bad month and then come back playing like an MVP, and you're like, what?
He's a walking triple-double.
He's a walking triple-double. He might disappear for a game or two, but you know he's coming back. He's not disappearing. He's not going away. He's been in the league long enough to show that he might have a bad game here or there. He might shoot bad, but you know what? He's still going to take the game-winning shot, even if he's shooting 0 of 10, and there's a good chance it still goes in.
Hey, 1 of 11, and you win. That's what matters.
Yep. So what's kind of cool here is if you don't know what the East standings are right now, the Heat are 31 and 29. So effectively, there's 13 games left. The Heat are probably going to win some. The 7th seed is probably locked in. I don't think there's much chase for the Wizards to get 6 games up. But the 8th seed, Phil, is only 3 games ahead. And that's with the Hornets. I think you could potentially even see the Wizards going into an 8 and 7, which I think would be or the 8th seed to play the 7th seed for the play-in tournament. I think that's the best situation to be in, because then you only got to win 1, but you can lose 1 too. Then you don't have
Pacers are sliding as well. Wizards are 9-1 in their last 10 games. Oof, they could make some momentum. You're right. They can get all the way up to 8 potentially.
I think they win. I think they'll win. They'll get that 8th seed. It'll be kind of cool because I don't think anyone's expecting the Wizards to get there.
and your trophy for winning the 8th seed, you get to play the Brooklyn Nets, who have James Harden, Kevin Durant, and then we've got Mr. Kyrie Irving. Three potential MVPs in their own right. So
Russell's going to just go. What I do like about this, though, they're not going to win. I'm not saying the Wizards are going to win. I love if Washington gets that 8th seed, because he will fight and go after every ball, and he will put his heart on the floor, potentially take a game or two. I'm just looking forward to see Russell Westbrook, because how his engine works, and like him facing the Brooklyn Nets, you're going to see some amazing basketball from Russell Westbrook, because I'm excited to see what he does. Like, he's just going to go at Kyrie so hard. Bradley Beal, another great scorer. He's got big heart. It's going to be a fun game. If we get there.
Also, KD versus Russell Westbrook. That would be a lot of fun. That's what I would like to see, the 1 versus 8.
I'm hoping they do it. So we are going to jump into our last segment of the day. We are going into the North.
Give me some Raptor news.
Give me some Raptor news. Exactly.
We, the North. There's not a ton to talk about this week, but there's some good stuff, because it's the Raptors, and we love the Raptors, especially more so this week. There's a new doctor in the house. Not yet. I shouldn't say that.
Doctor, give me a call. His name is Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry is Kyle Lowry in a press conference this week where they were talking. He's going to be getting an honorary doctorate from Acadia. And Lowry said, "It ain't official yet, but when it's official, I will not respond to anything other than Dr. Lowry." What will he be the doctor of? Someone said, Doctor of Greatness. Will OG call Kyle Dr. Lowry? And Anunoby responded, "If everyone does, then yeah." Does this mean Nurse will be demoted to assistant coach? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Good for him. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about a career in the NBA, like you work a lot. I don't think people always realize the amount of hours you put into the NBA. Like these guys, I don't know what they would work hourly, but it's more than 40. I can tell you that.
I would tend to agree.
With travel, with pregame, if you want to be the best of the best, if you're just showing up to play ball, sure, you might not be working a lot. But if you're trying to be the best of the best, you're putting in a lot of hours in the gym, at the games, in travel, in practice, in researching your teams, and just everything. Like that's your life. So it's pretty cool to see him then have the time to still go get his honorary doctorate from Acadia. Like, good on him. Time management. Kyle Lowry, please teach me.
That's right. Eh?
And then Phil,
Good
I think
old
you got the rest of our Raptors news. But
I
yeah,
do.
Dr. Kyle Lowry. That's his name. As soon as he gets that, people remember it.
I do. So yeah, so just to kind of do a quick summary of the week, Raptors are in the 12th spot, 1.5 games back from the Wizards. They won against the Thunder and the Nets, lost to the Knicks today. But Freddie, OG, and Pascal combined for 80 points. What that means, the future is bright. Yuta Watanabe is signing a contract. They are going to have him for the rest of the year.
Good job, Yuta.
No longer on a two-way. Busy week coming up. 5 games, home against the Cavs, the Nets, and then away against the Nuggets, Jazz, and Lakers. We might be able to see Raptors going to get that 10 seed, or they're going to slide down and maybe get the draft pick a little bit higher. That's what we got for We the North. I think that's what we got for the podcast, Luke.
Yes, sir. We were going to have our From Deep question, but we've definitely passed our time, so we'll bring it for next week. It's a good one. So, but yeah, I think it's not a small question, as it's definitely worth about a 10-minute conversation at least. So we are going to skip it for this week. And we're going to say that's a podcast. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening. Listen, to your favorite parts of the segment. The timestamps are on YouTube. I do put them in the Spotify and Apple part. Unfortunately, they don't have timestamps, but you can definitely always look in the description to see, hey, I want to listen to this segment. That's what we're trying to do. We're creating segments. We want to see what people like, and from there, we'll keep making those segments that people love. Have a wonderful week, and, splash from deep. We out.
Till next time.
Till next time. Peace.